So most of our stitches in cross stitch are just that, a cross or an X. So we can see here that we have all of these little X's, and we have our bottom leg, in this case going from bottom left to top right, and then our top leg, in this case going bottom right to top left. Now you may prefer to stitch the other way around, so to have bottom right to top left first. That's absolutely fine, just remain consistent throughout your piece. Always have your stitches going in the same direction, otherwise it's going to look a mess. So here we have our full crosses, what you're going to be using most of the time. Sometimes, however, you may use something like this, so a half cross, just the first leg. And again, your bottom leg, your first leg may be going the opposite way to mine. That's absolutely fine, just stay consistent. So these are known as half cross, half stitch, sometimes tent stitch. Why might you use a stitch like this? Several reasons. Sometimes the chart asks for it. Dimensions Gold kits, which we looked at earlier, they often ask for these half stitches, and they will compensate by asking you to use another strand of thread or 2 more strands of thread to build up the same amount of coverage as you would have had with a full cross. Sometimes these kind of stitches are used in the teeny tiny stitches, the over 1 stitches in our linen and even weave, and we'll be using that technique later in our sample piece for our angel's skin. And at that point I will have to make a decision between using a full cross in 1 strand or a half cross in 2 strands. The last kind of common reason for using a half cross, a half stitch, a tent stitch as it's sometimes known, is by full coverage stitchers who are stitching on quite a high count of fabric. So you might see a full coverage stitcher stitching on 25 count even weave, maybe 28 count even weave. They will be stitching over 1, so not over 2 threads like we saw earlier, but over 1, and they will be using 2 strands in a half stitch or a tent stitch. It goes a little bit quicker because you're only making half a stitch. There is one major drawback, and that is that using that technique where you're only ever placing your stitches in one direction can warp your fabric. It can kind of cause your fabric to basically go out of alignment